Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tokusatsu Podcast, the best show about Tokusatsu you probably never heard of. And today, it was supposed to be a mailbag. It was supposed to be a normal-ass mailbag. Unfortunately, the universe had other plans, because we woke up to possibly one of the most surprising things, but also not the most surprising thing in the world. Jay, please explain.
Well, it's a little surprising, but at approximately 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this morning, TV Asahi announced that the production of Super Sentai is coming to an end.
Yep.
That is all they've said so far, and nobody knows what the fuck else is going on. But that's it. Yeah, it's over. It's over, folks. Probably.
All of the memes that we have said for the last 10 years have finally come to fruition.
I didn't think it was ever going to happen, but, I mean, we don't specifically know what the fuck is going on right now.
Well, first off, obviously, reactions. The very first thing we need is the reactions. And my reaction is, wow, it's split. It's, wow, I can't believe they actually did it, and I'm surprised it took this long.
I was more surprised at how blunt it is. It's just TV Asahi's like, hey, we're stopping making this, bye, and they haven't fucking said shit since. Toei, as far as I've seen, hasn't said shit since, and it doesn't seem like anybody involved has any idea, unless literally the entirety of Toku Twitter, in terms of actors, are just going along with kayfabe, because nobody has any fucking clue what's going on. No. None of the people who have worked on these shows have any clue that this was going to happen. I mean, some of them are freaking out, like I've seen Deca Blue, specifically, like, having a full-on breakdown about, like, what do you mean Sentai is over? What? Yeah, a lot of these guys are going it's a very surprising amount of reactions across the board, at least in terms of people who've worked on the show. Fans are another thing entirely, but, like, in terms of specifically, like, actors, it's weird. Nobody seems to have seen this coming.
Well, that kind of brings me to the first thought of this entire thing. Was this kind of like a last-minute decision? Or was this something that they've thought about for a while, but everyone kind of thought, well, they've been talking about this forever and they're never going to do it?
That's a good question.
And then they finally got the fucking hammer shut down on them.
I don't know. Because if we assume the current batch of leakers are correct, which 50-50 usually, they were at least working on another Sentai. So either somebody upstairs decided to cut it early, or there's something else going on. Because I will note, we haven't gotten a trademark yet, and around this time of year is when we should be getting a trademark for Sentai. So unless it's the current theory, parentheses, cope, is that they're just rebranding Sentai. Is that they're going to end, quote-unquote, Super Sentai, but next year is going to be a show that's basically just Sentai, but under a new name and slightly different. Which, we'll get more into that. But, I don't know, I guess it might just be... It could have just been a last-second decision of, yeah, this isn't making enough money, we're going to cut it. We're going to cut the pre-production here. It wouldn't be the first time.
I mean, that was another thing that I was thinking of, is it the fact that, and I know we've spoken about this before. We have had lengthy discussions both on and off the show about this, but has it really gone so bad for Sentai that they just can't afford to make it anymore? Because I know that during the time of, like, Loopat was really bad. Like, I remember we would make jokes about the hundreds of toys that they just had lying around for like $1 in Japanese money, like a dollar in the fucking store. So it got really dire for a little bit. But I was under the impression that Dawn Brothers, King Oger, and even oh my god, Zenkaiger did a lot better than at least they did. At least enough to even it out.
I don't have sales numbers off the top of my head immediately, but this is apparently the most recent sales reportings, and those numbers aren't great for Sentai there.
Nope.
As you can see.
Whatever I'm looking at, that's not good.
They are bottom of the barrel Sentai right now. I don't know the comparison in terms of millions of how much that is, but we're looking at sub 100 million, more than likely. That's bad. It's doing
and a lot of this
bad.
Also relies on Bandai as well to make the toys and everything, because if Bandai doesn't make a profit and it goes to TVSI, where's the profit going to come from?
Yeah, that's always what it's been. Is, you know, the shows have been doing better ratings wise. That's certainly a thing, but it doesn't look like they're selling any better. They haven't really been selling any better, because that's always what the problem's been, is that they can do all this sort of ridiculous shit with Sentai all they want, but if nobody's buying stuff, then it's not going to keep going.
I mean, could you also attribute it to maybe Japan's declining birth rate?
It's entirely likely.
As you know, I know someone's going to say it, as schizo as it might sound, that may not actually be entirely off. I mean, you know, less kids means less kids to watch a kid's show, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, even the most devout Sentai fan who's like in their 30s, who's buying all of these toys, they're not going to be able to buy so many toys that they can revitalize the sales, basically.
And have you seen the size of Japanese houses and apartments? They're not very big.
That is also true. That's where I was going to go back to the original point of, do you think this was made as a last minute kind of, hey, we tried, we gave you guys a shot, you did a little bit better with Dawn Brothers, but it hasn't been enough?
I kind of think it is. I really think it is, because if they really were going to give it a chance, they would have had a one more chance. They would have said, we're going to try it with this one last Sentai, and then...
I mean, it's hard to say, because nobody, like, official has said anything beyond just, we're canceling it, essentially. That it's canceled. I mean, there's no other way around it. They've canceled Sentai.
I mean, again, we've made this joke for over
we've
a fucking
been saying
decade
this since
now?
like fucking Ninja, that
Yeah.
Sentai is on its way out the door sometime in our lifespan.
I'm just surprised that, again, you know, I understand that regardless of what we may personally think about King Oger, I was under the impression that it sold at least a little bit.
Again, I don't have the sales numbers.
toys
I
were
saw
pretty popular.
earlier in terms of charts it did recently. Let me see if I can find it, but it's still been a very steady decline. I think Dawn Brothers did really good, and I think a lot of that was carried by Oni Taijin being such a good mech.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a fantastic mech. And I forget what the dragon's mech is called.
You know, I can't remember, actually.
I have it like right next to me on my desk. It's a beautiful.
Well, again, that brings back to the to what we're saying. It's like we're at a point where we don't know a whole lot. Like, this is really just our first reaction to the fact that Sentai's fucking dead. Like, again, like Jay said, there is no if, and, maybes, or buts. It's dead. They've canceled it. It's official. But it is kind of surprising just how blunt they did it, too. Like, there was no big announcement. Just, hey, okay, guys, you're out. Bye.
Which does possibly raise the question, yeah, maybe there are other things going on here. It's possible that there's something else cooking behind the scenes. Okay, so here is that list I was talking about in terms of sales. And it seems like, yeah, you had a nice little bump there with Dawn Brothers, and it kind of stayed relatively consistent with King Oger and Boom Boomger, but it's still, it's only 5 billion, which sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things is not really all that much money, especially not for how much these shows cost.
I mean,
and you compare 10 years ago with Tokuger, you had 12 billion, and then you have dropping down, you have Ninja, which is a drop of like 5 mil
to 7 million,
and then
to 7 billion,
and then a much steeper drop from there with Loopat down to 7 mil, and it just keeps dropping from there.
I mean, Tokuger, you could probably attribute to the train otakus as well, because that was two birds.
Yeah, I mean, because you had Kyoryuger, which was Kyoryuger, bouncing back from Go Busters, which famously did really shitty.
Yeah.
And so you had those two, which had a nice solid bump, but then you had Ninja, and then it's just never recovered since then. It's not too surprising in terms of sales, really. But again, it's because this is where we get into, like I said, the cope, is that there's all these theories surrounding it. It's a publicity stunt. Oh, they're actually going to be rebranding Sentai. That's what all the leakers and quote-unquote leakers, depending on who you're talking about, are saying, is that, no, we're actually getting a Sentai next year, but they're just rebranding it next year because they misconstrued an article where the current producer of Gojujutsu was like, we thought about completely rebranding Gojujutsu just as like a surprise thing, but we never ended up doing that, which they're all misconstruing as, they were always planning on rebranding Sentai after Gojujutsu, which is not the case.
Well, see, that's the biggest problem too, that like even if they do rebrand, they would have at least mentioned something. They would have mentioned something along those lines, because them just canceling it outright, I mean, what is that going to do for publicity? No one's going to, they canceled Sentai, I guess I don't have to watch TV Asahi anymore. Like,
well, that's where we get into some other theories, and again, still launching off of it's a publicity stunt. They're saying they're canceling it so that when they start this new quote-unquote Sentai show, there's all the people are like, it's back, it's revived or whatever, and because look, here's the thing. There's really no good argument to suggest why they would be rebranding it, that they wouldn't have just said so already. The only logical argument I have seen in terms of rebranding Sentai, other than wanting to refresh the brand, which a new name is not going to be enough to cut it, based on what they've been saying about this next season, assuming it's going to get made at this point, is that it's not going to be enough to revitalize Sentai. I know Shirakura was talking about it a couple of years ago about keeping these franchises fresh and trying to reinvent them for newer, younger audiences. But again, the only logical argument I have seen supporting them rebranding it is that it's a loophole, basically. It's a contractual loophole to get out of the agreement with Hasbro and Saban. Because, as we all know, their agreement with Saban basically has deadlocked Sentai in the West, and now that Hasbro owns the IP of Power Rangers, they don't want to fucking do anything with it. And that's been deadlocking Sentai release over in the West. So the current theory, parentheses game theory, is that they're canceling Super Sentai, but they're starting a new series with a new name that's basically Sentai, but it's not Sentai, so they can start releasing it internationally and simulcasting it and getting around that trademark. Because, I mean, let's be real, that contract was never going to end. It was literally a in perpetuity contract with Hasbro and Saban. And I'm not even joking, I found part of the contract. It literally licensed Saban and Hasbro the rights of Power Rangers to the entire universe outside of Asia. That is literally what it says, is the universe. I'm not joking.
How the hell is that legal?
I don't fucking know. All right, it's Heinz Saban.
That is some bullshit. I feel like that's actually that. I don't think that should have happened. That should have not been allowed.
let me see if I can find it again, because it was very funny. Because it said the universe outside of these specific locations. Which, I don't know if that's just like yeah, here it is. Okay. So, to read, assuming this is accurate, territories shall include the United States of America, its territories, blah, 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 and the universe, excluding these specific territories, Brazil, Japan, and other parts in Asia. So
Okay.
that is apparently the contract of Hasbro and Saban with their distribution rights. So, unless Saban was in contact with the aliens from fucking Andromeda or whatever, who knows? The point is, here's the argument. Rebranding it to get around this trademark more than likely would work. Because it wouldn't be the first time they did that. Of course, that's how Battle Fever J basically came about, is they created a suspiciously similar substitute to Go Ranger and Jaka to call it a new product so they didn't have to pay Ishinomori royalties. They've already done this once. So it's not a stretch to say maybe that's the argument. They're killing Super Sentai, but they're doing a new show that's basically the same thing but ever so slightly different to be legally distinct, so they don't have to keep fucking with Saban and Hasbro. Which, I mean, there's enough leeway there to say if they change it enough to be considered different, then yeah, they'll probably get away with it. And if it ends up going to court, they'll have enough argument to say, yes, it's a different enough product. So who knows if that's what they're actually planning. The ultimate problem is that rebranding it and international distribution really doesn't fix the fundamental problems that Sentai has been having for the last couple of years, and that's retaining an audience that will buy the toys enough to make them money. And that's not going to happen with international distribution. Because if you're doing it with simulcasting, the only people who are going to be watching it are losers like us, who will be buying the toys, yes, but not enough to meet the sales demands.
Nope.
I mean, I would argue that even people like us barely buy the toys or get retained by this. I mean, I'm going to be honest, dude. Have I watched any of Boom Boonger? No. Have I watched King Oger? No. Have I watched Gojuger? No. Why? Because I don't care. I don't care. The last Sentai that I watched was Dawn Brothers, and that's because it was fucking Dawn Brothers.
Precisely.
That was a completely different thing to everything else. It was fucking Inoue coming back to write a Sentai. That's the only reason I came to watch it, because I want to see what he would fucking do with it. Sentai does not give me enough to care to come back to it. You know, like Gov. I watch Gov, and because I watch Gov, I want to watch Zets. You know, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking of. When I watched Dawn Brothers, I didn't think, I want to watch King Oger. No, I didn't want to. I was done. And of course, as you know, I didn't buy any of the toys for Dawn Brothers. I didn't buy any of the toys for anything else. So, if I'm anything to go off of, people like us, like real Tokusatsu fans, we don't fucking care. And the people who came into this fucking fan base, who are just going off of GIFs on Twitter and hype moments, they're definitely not going to care, because the people who post those GIFs don't watch Sentai anymore. So they don't even know it fucking exists.
It also doesn't help that there's two different types of toy markets for the collectors out there. There's the regular market that's mainly geared towards children, and then there's the Memorial Edition / CSM line that's for the adults who have a little more money that they want to spend. And it kind of, but the thing is, the CSM, Memorial, all that, they do classic stuff. They do classic Sentai and classic Kamen Rider, the stuff that we grew up with already. That's gonna sell because that's gonna sell because that was already popular. The other stuff, it's Wild West country out there. They don't know if it's gonna sell or not.
And that's the other thing with the rebrand is, well, if you rebrand it, it doesn't, again, solve the issue of Sentai over here, is that it's still going to have that stigma of, this is just Power Rangers. unless you change it significantly enough to the point where it's no longer Sentai, in which case, why bother? It's just an entirely new thing at this point. I mean, fuck's sakes, just bring fucking Metal Heroes back at this point. Timefire was saying that earlier. Just make it fucking Metal Heroes. I know, that was
so based.
Dude, like, literally.
Really? He was?
Oh, yeah, fucking Timefire's actor, in his reaction, was like, he was upset, but I hope for a Metal Heroes revival.
That was so based.
You know
that was so based.
You know what? I back him. I would love to see Metal Heroes.
You know what?
Back.
This goes down to a video that we released a while ago, talking about why Tokusatsu is so hard to bring into the West. Jay just put that point right back out there. Even if they were branded for the Western audience, nobody's gonna say anything other than, it's just Power Rangers. It's just gonna happen again. So even if you call it Pooper Bentai, it's still gonna just be called Japanese Power Rangers. Even if you call it Hitler's Fun Time in the Summertime, it's still gonna just be called Japanese Power Rangers. It's always gonna have that fucking stigma. That's what fucking Kamen Rider still has. They brought Kamen Rider Zets to the West to simulcast, and there's still motherfuckers out there calling it Japanese Power Rangers. There's still websites saying that, and it's so fucking annoying, and it keeps fucking happening. So even if it's to rebrand to get away from Saban and shit, I'm sorry to tell you this, but that's another check mark for Saban to why he's such an evil motherfucker. He's ruined any chance Sentai would ever have in the West, even if they rebrand it.
No, because as we have said for however many years at this point, probably way too long, Power Rangers was a flash in the pan that came out at just the right moment to be popular, and more or less every attempt to keep it going has continuously seen a reduction in popularity. It only barely survived after In Space because it was supposed to be the last one, so it got a little more attention. And it just kind of trucked along there in the background because Disney was pumping money into it because there was something they could pump money into.
Let me ask you a very, very, very poignant question, right? If Power Rangers was actually popular, why is it not around anymore?
Exactly.
There you go. So you really think that if Power Rangers, something that was taking over the fucking world in the 90s, if you think about that, if you see the fact that they're not around anymore, what the fuck is Sentai gonna do? In a world where America only made fun of Sentai for the past 30 fucking years. No shit, it's not going to survive. But I think we're getting off topic and just shitting on Power Rangers again, which I love doing, but still.
Which, to be fair, is at least on topic.
True. But again, to go back to the topic of what we were saying, that they're going to rebrand it, there's really no point. There's no point in rebranding it. Like, you're just kind of... To bring up an old saying, you're just putting a Band-Aid on top of a gun wound. It's not going to do anything. It's just that's it. I honestly, for me, I think this isn't a publicity stunt. I don't think this is a rebranding. I think Sentai is legitimately dead. It's gone. That's it. Whatever the series that comes after this, it's going to be the end. If they make it. And maybe Gozuger is the last one. Who knows? I know people already hate Gozuger anyways because they think it's fucking a ripoff of Gokaiger for some godforsaken reason, but whatever. Whether we like it or not, I think this is just going to be one of those Occam's razors kind of thing. It's dead. It's gone. I think right now we should just kind of accept that.
Hate to say it, but yeah.
It's really hard to say at this point because there are a couple of other potential things. Maybe they're just dropping television and going straight to streaming only, which doesn't make any sense because Kamen Rider is still going to be on TV. Or, who knows? There are 1,000 different things it could possibly be, but really, the problem is that there are no avenues to resolve this that don't just kill Sentai again. As we have said, the fundamental problems with Sentai cannot be so easily fixed with a rebrand. Whatever comes after this will have to be so radically different, it is a different product altogether and is not Sentai. Which may well be the point. Whatever show they bring out next year, they may very well be a completely new project. It could not be Sentai at all. It could be something entirely new. Who knows? We don't know yet. We'll find out soon enough. At the moment, we can't say anything more. Anything other than assuming it's just canceled is basically speculation and cope. It's leakers trying to suggest that they weren't wrong, that no, there isn't another show coming, and people just desperate for the show to keep going because they like it. And you know what? I like Sentai too. Gojir's been great. Bunbunjir was great. King Oger. Dawn Brothers was great. Zenkaiger was great. Kira Major was great. We've had a wonderful run, show-wise, of Sentai for a while. But that don't mean shit if these shows aren't making bank. And that's what matters at the end of the day.
Pretty much.
Yep. We can sit here and bitch all we want about Kyoryuger or King Oger. At the end of the day, unfortunately, those made more money than fucking Zenkaiger. They made more money than fucking Dawn Brothers. And that's all that fucking matters. That is all that matters to the bean counters over at Toei. Who cares if you wrote the shows correctly? You made more money than them. That's all that matters. Why do you think Build and Gaim are still as popular as they are, and why they're still being pushed by Toei to this day?
Because they made money.
Exactly. They made a shit ton of yen. It doesn't matter if X-Aid was better than Build. It doesn't matter if Gaim was a hack job made by a hack. It made money. And that's all that'll ever matter. This just goes to show that you can never be sure with this fucking genre. But that's really all I have to say, because like Jay said, we're just going to be running in circles speculating at this point.
Let me just cap this off with this. If we assume that this is just all a big, I don't want to say hoax, a big publicity stunt. The next show is actually getting made, and they're just rebranding it, and it's a big publicity stunt. Here's the problem. If all of the leaks are to be believed, the next show is being written by Shimayama, which means that whatever they fucking do, it's still gonna be fucking dead on arrival, because Shimayama can't fucking write a show to save his life. Fucking Ninja and Zio. That was it. Those were his two main writer contributions. Zio and Ninja. That's it.
Really?
Well, okay, he did the Korean Kyoryuger spinoff, but who cares about that one?
Oh my god!
Nobody fucking watched that. Who cares?
How do you bat zero?
Right? Like, I think his only hits are, like, the few random episodes of Go Busters he did. And, like, maybe the Wizard movie, and even that's not very good. Whatever ridiculous shit they're pulling for this, if this is what they're gonna bring, then, bro, you're just gonna kill it again. This is exactly what I've been talking about this whole episode. This is kind of what I was leading up to, is you can't keep doing shit like this and expect Sentai to keep going. Because you can do all this ridiculous shit and change the franchise and change the formula, or start an entirely new franchise. But if you pick the same dumb motherfuckers that have been writing these shows for the last 10 years, and they're still cranking out slop, then, oh wow, you've got new slop that nobody cares about.
Did we learn nothing from Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo from 2000's WCW? You can't keep rebooting the same shit and hoping nobody notices, because it doesn't matter if the same cook is in the kitchen.
Exactly. You can change the name of the kitchen, but if the cooks are the same, then it's just the same
And
shit.
if it's the same shit that got you in trouble the first time, it's going to get you in trouble the next time. So maybe, just maybe, we are going to get Metal Heroes with fucking Shimoyama at the helm, which should be fucking hilarious if that's how you brought that shit back.
It really would be.
Kabutek 2.
Kabutek 2.
No,
Well, no,
no,
they
no,
kind of
no,
got
But
that.
man,
earlier this
Kabutek
year.
3.
You have to go back to the Gavan days.
No, it's going to be Kabutek 3. He's purple now. No changes at all, just he's purple.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
And somewhere along the line, we get another Kabutek Shmega,
Schmeg.
right? and they and the original Kabutek's a ketamine addict, okay?
We did that once. We're not going to do that one again.
Right? Okay. I'm trying to think like Shimoyama and rip off things other people have done, only worse. Okay, what if we get a Kabutek that can't die and then dies anyways?
It's possible.
And he's played by Time Fire. Look, as Jay said, Sentai's fucking dead. Good day.
Anyway, somebody should go check on Yukikaji because he seems really sad about this.